Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco. Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again. If you're wondering why I just laughed, my cat Bernie, he was facing towards me, and then when I stood up and I started to record this review, he turned away from me. So I'm gonna see what's up with him here. I'm gonna ask him what he thought of the episode, even though he didn't watch it. Bernie, what do you think? Okay. Well, I just watched The Old Man Season 2, Episode 4, and, well, the season was good while it lasted. And now I'm not gonna act like this was, like, really bad or anything. It's just that they completely changed up everything this episode. It was what you would call a game changer episode. But the problem was that it was a quiet game changer episode. The last episode was really climactic and action-packed, sure. And I realized that, not every episode is going to have a ton of action. Not every episode is going to end with a huge gunfight with the helicopter shooting and, you have Emily having like a badass moment where she kills the main bad guy and just goes bam, bam, I know not every episode is going to have that, but the way that this episode was, it really should have been a lot more suspenseful, at least just suspenseful, at least thrilling. Instead, this episode was slow, it was dull, it was anticlimactic, it was disappointing, and I think that's it. I don't know, I thought I was just going to say another thing, but then I was like, I think that's it, this episode. Let's just go through what happened, if we can even make it through it. I mean, to be honest, I was really confused about a lot of the stuff. When I watch these movies and shows where they just go through all this exposition, just constantly exposition dumping the audience, I get kind of disinterested and I kind of zone out, and I was a little confused by this episode, so I actually had to look up another person's review just so that I could, remember or even, comprehend what was happening in this episode. Some of the stuff I just did not understand. It was kind of running right past me because I was kind of, taken back by how stupid it was. So, first off, Faraz Hamzad, let's just go through his story. He is gonna recover from his injuries, but the problem is their little town only has a couple of days before the Taliban comes back and kills everyone. So they're really screwed. And Faraz ends up actually dying off camera. It's very anticlimactic because it felt like they went through such a great amount of pain and such a great amount of trouble for him to just end up not getting killed. I mean, for him to end up not getting killed and then to die a day later or something. It felt so anticlimactic when that happened. It felt like, wow, you just introduced a really good character after so much build-up. I mean, the whole first season, you hear about Faraz Hamzad. That's how Jeff Bridges talks. He's like, Faraz Hamzad. Or, no, that sounds like a smoking woman. Let's see if I can do it. Faraz Hamzad. I used to know Faraz Hamzad, and I stole his woman, Belladar. Whatever her name was. I stole her from Faraz Hamzad. And, and there was so much build-up, and then we see him at the end of Season 2, and you think, oh, shit, he's going to be an epic main character in season 2. And then he shows up in season 2. He's just kind of like an old hermit crab cakes man. And then he just dies. Like, wow, that was really, really something. That is storytelling right there, And Emily, of course, she wants to stay behind because she wants to roleplay as Parowana now. The person who reviewed it, that I looked up the review, he pointed out how terrible it is for women in the Middle East, and I was like, yeah, it is a little unrealistic for for Emily to now want to live in the Middle East and be in that culture after she's, been an American woman and enjoyed all her freedoms that she's given, and then she's like, no, fuck that, I'll just stay here and suffer, and, So she's doing that. She wants to help the people in the village, and we get a little bit of action between her and, they actually say that other character's name this episode, Tariq, or whatever, the guy who looked like the weird guy from Criminal Minds. They have a bit of an interaction, and, it's just kind of like, oh, this is going to be really hard. What's going to happen? People are going to get killed, that type of thing. And meanwhile, I thought that the best stuff in this episode was with Dan and Harold and their interactions with each other. They have such great chemistry with one another. And even though I really enjoyed Harold as the villain in last season, like a reluctant villain, it's really nice to see them together, as I said, in the past couple of reviews. And there's this particularly funny part where Dan thinks that they're going to ride on this really nice and new plane, and then Harold says, no, we're going to ride on that one. And he points to this really crappy, plane that's barely held together, and they have to get on that to go. Because what they have to do is they have to go to Morgan Boat, who I can't even remember him from the first season. I know that he was in it, but I literally can't even remember him because it's been 5 years since the last season, and they have to persuade him to unfreeze Faraz's accounts because that is what he did that is now going to cause the Taliban to come and clean house. So when they get to Morgan Boat's place, I couldn't help but be reminded of The Big Lebowski. I think that this was purposeful, the whole interaction between them and Morgan Boat. It just reminded me so much of when Jeff Bridges goes to confront The Big Lebowski with John Goodman and everything, and all their interactions in the mansion. So I thought that was kind of cool, but this is where the game changers happened. This is where the season turned into Saul. It turned from Jimmy McGill into Sal Goodman. Firstly, the villain of this season is not the Taliban. The villain of this season is this guy called Salami Badlovich or something. I'm just going to call him Salami Man. And he was that random, Russian old guy from season 1 that Jeff Bridges beat up and off screen or whatever, and that was a anticlimactic episode too. He was at that party, that party where he was with Zoe and they were doing their thing there, and yeah. And apparently, I'm not even going to try to explain the reasoning. I'm not even going to, try to, I could just say what they said on the review, but I don't even understand what that means, honestly. They said something about they can't give them money because Salami Man is taking over the lithium deposit or whatever, the lithium, whatever. I don't get it at all. If someone could explain to me in the comments, I don't understand at all. So then Zoe comes in, and apparently she's there now, and she is working for Morgan Boot. And she also has Dan's dogs, which I thought was nice. We got to see them again. But they did not get what they wanted. And so there's this kind of hanging thing of like, they're going to have to persuade Morgan. And then what ends up happening is that Morgan gets attacked and killed by these intruders, and Zoe has to hide behind a desk. And this sequence was the worst part of the episode, because it could have been, and this is what I'm saying, like, even, Alfred Hitchcock, he was saying, like, even the worst scripts can be made into good movies the material doesn't matter, because what matters is suspense. And there wasn't any suspense in this episode. They had this whole stupid thing of where there's these intruders, there's shots fired, and then Zoe has to hide behind a desk. And all they do is just show Zoe in the desk. Or, I mean, not in the desk, that'd be hilarious. Her trying to fit in the desk. But she's behind this desk. And it's like, automatically, this is hilarious too, because her first return on the show, she's already a damsel in distress again who can't do anything properly. And then Dan and Harold come in and kill the last guy, and not before the second intruder sent a picture to Salami Man, who is now going to be the main villain of the season. And I'm really disappointed by that. Salami Man, he was a really weak character in season 1, and I'm not really sure how good the season is going to be from now on. I think the season is honestly going to go all downhill from here. So I'm going to give this episode a D for downhill. There's not really much else to say about it. It was just kind of disappointing. So please like this video and comment and tell me what you thought of this episode. And I think I forgot to take my magnesium today because I'm having an anxiety problem. For some reason, like, I have all these pills, and then sometimes I'm like, oh shit, did I already take that? And like, yeah, so I'm going to end this review pretty soon. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more Old Man reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.